Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to talk about some basic lab safety because obviously home chemistry is dangerous and it is even more dangerous if you don't have a fume-hood. So let's start with the basics. To protect your eyes, which are one of your most vital and cherished organs, you should always wear a pair of safety glasses to protect them from acid spills or similar. Also, to protect your hands, you need to wear some gloves. These are nitrile gloves and I choose them over vinyl gloves or similar because they are pretty thick and rip resistant, so they won't get holes that easily. And they are also pretty damn chemically resistant. If you get a splash of sulfuric acid on them, they will degrade over time, but it won't be as bad as with latex gloves. If you take a close look at those safety goggles, you can actually see that they have been messed up pretty badly so far, and all of this stuff could have gone straight into your eyes and leaving you blind in the worst case. Then chemists also wear one of these in the lab. Basic lab coat made from cellulose. If you look closely, you can see that this one already has got a few holes burnt into them, and that's because I got a few sulfuric acid splashes onto them. And if you don't wear a lab coat like this, then all of those splashes will go onto your skin or onto your clothing, ruining your clothing and leaving you with bad chemical burns in the worst case. So always wear a lab coat, even if you are dealing with harmless chemicals. Here we've also got a thick pair of nitrile gloves, and I tend to wear them when handling really toxic stuff like bromine. I normally put on one of these and put a second pair of gloves of normal nitrile gloves directly above one of these. So if you get a spill onto your hands and it eats through the first glove, you can pull that off, and even if it gets to the second glove, you have a second layer of glove protecting you from the chemicals, because bromine will go through nitrile gloves like nothing. It will get onto your finger if you only wear a pair of nitrile gloves, and you have to pull these gloves off if you get a bad spill of bromine onto them. They won't protect you for eternally, but they are working in the short run. This is also for all other chemicals, and if you get a spill of acid, if you get a spill of cyanide or whatever onto your gloves, pull them off, get a new pair of gloves and put them back on. It's for your safety. Here we have something special. We haven't put this thing to use right now, but I am going to film a video this year in which we are going to put on this thick, chemically resistant, full body protecting suit. And yeah, you can stay tuned for that. I'm not going to reveal too much about that project, but it will be interesting. In the past, we have also dealt with a lot of toxic gases, and you have probably seen me put on one of these to either a half-face respirator or a full-face respirator. The differences between those two is that here you have filter cartridges that are not as effective as one of these, and also this half mask will not protect your eyes, whereas this one definitely will. When choosing a filter, one has to carefully look at what this filter can be used for. Here we have, this is the classification of the filters, and this one, you can look that up. There are tables online which you can use to determine which filter type you need, but this one's basically for nearly everything. except carbon monoxide and nitrous gases. These filters cannot be used eternally. They will be used up at some point, and it is wise to swap them out once in a while. And it's also possible that you have to swap them out if you smell any gas that goes through this filter. When to use this mask and when to use this mask is always decided in the heat of the moment and sometimes in advance. I also use this mask when the preparation takes a really long time and when there's not a huge amount of gases in the air. This one I put on when the gases are really toxic, which we are dealing with, like chlorine, sulfur dioxide, or bromine, or even acetyl chloride, because when dealing with acetyl chloride, a lot of hydrogen chloride vapors will be released, and if you only wear a pair of safety goggles and this one, those fumes will get into your eyes and burn you. If you wear this mask, the fumes will not get into your eyes, they won't get into your lungs, and you will stay fine. This filter has actually been used up, and in a future video I'm going to cut that one open. I've always got a few standing in a shelf to swap them out if one expires. You can have a short look at the mask with the filter screwed into it. You always have to make sure that it is screwed in really tightly because you don't want unfiltered gases entering your lungs. And lastly, we have a fume hood, because a fume hood makes most of these safety measurements obsolete. You should wear safety goggles, you should wear a lab coat, and you should also wear gloves at all times when dealing with chemicals. But if you have a fume hood and are dealing with toxic gases, a fume hood will make a gas mask or a respirator obsolete. But this only applies if the fume hood is a professional one and it has to work really well. If you have a damaged fume hood, don't bother with deadly gases without a gas mask. And don't bother with toxic gases in a closed area either, because they can mess you up pretty damn quickly. You don't mess with chlorine in a closed area, you mess with chlorine outside, you mess with chlorine in a fume hood. If you don't have any of these, and if you also don't have PPE, appropriate knowledge, and all of the safety equipment needed to contain chlorine, don't even think about dealing with deadly gases like chlorine. So this was it for this video, some basic home chemistry lab safety. If you liked it, make sure to drop me one of these and consider subscribing to my channel for more chemistry related content in the future. I wish all of you a nice day. Until next time, bye.